Boom. And we're back.
Yeah, we are. Was that where I'm supposed to jump in?
Yeah, dude.
Thomas, how jealous were you that I was paired up with Alyssa last night?
That was, do you know, I have a list right here of topics. And the first one is Alyssa Lopez.
Yeah.
She mentioned me at all I'm sure you guys were texting. You were like, oh, we did so good. Like, look at us on TV. I'm sure she mentioned us. Like, I commented on Instagram. I don't know.
Our guest, before we get too far into this conversation, is Ryan Trefry, who is the director of pickleball at the new Legacy Bellbank Park complex in Mesa, Arizona. And I've become good friends with Ryan over the last couple years as we are from the same place. And he humors me with some dialed down pickleball from time to time, which I appreciate. And he is our guest today. Ryan, what's up, dude?
What's up? Tyson is an avid pickleball player out here at Bellbank Park. The crowds just follow wherever he goes. Court 2, he gets like probably 50 to 60 people watching him. It's ridiculous. He's a celebrity.
50 to 60, that's more than most pro pickleball matches.
Right? But that's just the way it is, dude. A day in the life. So, Ryan, before we introduced you, Thomas was talking about the Challenge USA, which I'm currently on. I don't know if you've been watching at all.
Every night. I watch it every night. I rewatch
every
it
single night.
Dinner and rewatch, because like we just want to see you. My wife is in love with you, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I just pause if they ever do like a close up, I just pause and I leave it that way until like the next week.
On me or on Alyssa Lopez?
Just on your face, and then Alyssa like in the background.
Okay, so Alyssa is one of the friends I've made on the show, and she's very cute and very funny. And Thomas was inquiring as to her status last week. Mm-hmm. And then this week I got paired with her in the challenge, and I just knew that Thomas would be so jealous again of me.
Yeah.
The only thing I thought was, so they're actually pretty close. There's a better chance of this setup having some merit to it and her actually taking your recommendation seriously. So now the ball is even more in your court to make this happen for me.
But here's the thing, because my advice to her would be never date somebody who's gotten to know you on TV before they did in real life. And my advice to you, Thomas, would be don't date somebody you got to know on TV before you got to know them in real life.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's the same advice. It just works a little bit differently. And haven't. So, yeah, you want me to message her?
Yeah. While I appreciate your advice, I'm going to completely disregard it. And once again, I'm going to put the ball in your court to make this happen for me.
Okay. I've been getting text messages from her this morning. So because I think her and I had the most hilarious exchange last night on the show.
I'm sure it was really magical.
But enough about that. We're here to talk about pickleball, not about Thomas's love life, not about me as a huge celebrity on TV right now. And we have a expert in the field of pickleball. Ryan, how long have you been playing pickleball? Because I know a little bit, but you've been playing a long time. Started in Southern California.
What year is it?
It is 2022 right now.
Okay, so we're looking at about 6 years, actually.
6 years. So you're looking at 2016.
Your math is very good.
Southern California.
Southern California, started in Simi Valley, California. And
who were you playing with at the time?
Jack Monroe, Dane Gingrich, who's a legend.
Okay. And I've heard stories about you playing with Riley Newman back then in Southern California early on.
Riley
Jesse
was in Southern
Irvine.
Cal for a little bit. Yep. Jeff Warnick. We had a big group out there, so it was a lot of good players.
And who would you say out of that group, who was like the instigator? Who was like the person who introduced pickleball? Did they all discover it on their own? Was one or a couple people bringing in tennis players? How was that happening?
I think everyone kind of came into their own. Like a lot of them were tennis players. A lot of them were just athletes. And, when you're high level, you just find each other. So, everyone was driving an hour and a half to get games. And, at that point, there wasn't a lot of pickleball players. So you had to drive far to get the high level games.
Oh, that's interesting. Because now if it's over 20 minutes for me, I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it, dude. An hour and a half, Thomas. Have you ever driven an hour and a half for a pickleball game?
Dude, I won't go anywhere. I live next to like the hotbed of pickleball. It's a 20-minute drive, and I won't even go there.
Yeah. I'll go to Legacy.
You spend, 4 hours in the car just to play an hour and a half of pickleball. So that's how it was.
Wow. That's determination. And that's one of the stories, like 10 years down the road when kids are, saying how hard pickleball is, the elders can come in and be like, how far I used to have to travel each direction to play pickleball.
There you go.
I spent
both
a year
ways in the snow
driving around the country in a van to chase pickleball. So that
you did.
There's like my badge. There's my badge of honor traveling for
your
for
back
pickleball.
Still hurts from that.
Now I'm over it. Yeah.
So
I know it does.
When you started playing back then in 2016, did you have the vision that it would be what it is today? Were you like, I'm going to start playing pickleball right now, then I'm going to be director of pickleball at one of the largest complexes in the world, and see how it pans out from there?
No, I want to like rephrase the question. Okay. Don't think like, would it ever become this? Just like, what were you thinking in that moment in time when you were just sort of playing this like quirky, off the beaten path game that didn't have a ton of traction, probably like no online presence, but you were driving to get a game and you were playing with probably some of the best talent in the world at that point?
I mean, I think, as and everyone knows, pickleball is very compulsive, obsessive. So once you play, you want to play tomorrow, you want to play tonight, so I think for me, it was, it brought back a little bit like the tennis, competitive, when I was playing junior tennis or high school tennis or college tennis, it brought back that competitive fire, and pickleball is weird. You just want to keep playing and you can't stop. You can't stop.
Yeah.
It's like one more game. You've heard that 1,000 times, let's play one more. So it's, I think for me, it was just, an obsessive, fun thing to do, outside of work,
Yeah. And you can play one more game. That's the thing. It's like people can play for hours and then they can play for a couple more hours and they can stay out there.
So you were playing professional tournaments back then. Were you traveling all over the country, playing everything you could? How was that working? Because it's not like it is now, where there was like appearance fees to cover costs, and then there was a large enough prize pool that you could, kind of make a living off of it. How were all these players doing it? Were they all just like out of pocket? Did some of them have sponsors that were footing some of these bills? How was it working?
The OG days, it was, out of your pocket.
The OG days.
We had nationals, Simi Valley ran like a Triple Crown event that, Ben and Kyle would play in. The prize money was, minuscule to what it is now, but, you get all the pros out to California. I think it was just, there's limited events. So they'd play the majors and grab a few small ones and, just play. I played Riley Newman in a small tournament in Tustin one time, and there was no prize money. So like back then, I think a lot of those guys were just playing, learning the game. And, obviously it's exploded and the money's obviously found everyone. So, but everyone loves the game. So,
Yeah. And you said that, there weren't a lot of games. I've heard you mention now there's so many tournaments that tournament numbers sometimes are dwindling because there's so many opportunities now to play. Is that something that we are going to see like an equilibrium on? Is stuff going to die down and find that balance? How do you foresee the sport of pickleball moving forward right now? Like, has it like reached max capacity, or are more players going to come into the sport and fill those empty spots? Or, what's going to happen?
I mean, what I see is, there's so many tournaments, but there's also so many courts now. And for us, at Bellbank Park, we have more people in the leagues, than we have in some of the tournaments. So like, I think some players will still be diehards and travel to tournaments every weekend, but a lot of players are finding alternates. They're running their own round robins. They're going to facilities like us and, paying to do round robins. And, there's just so many opportunities, but the numbers are exploding. So I'm seeing each tournament I run, I'm seeing brand new players every single time. So, at the end of the day, some of these big tournaments like nationals could explode where there's, 5, 10,000 people versus, 2 and 3,000. But I think, the day to day people are, they're finding things to do, they're picking where they want to spend their money. And, some of them spend it on tournaments and some of them spend it on lessons or, leagues.
As long as the money is getting spent.
That is true.
Right. And
we do have, did you tell the crowd about your tournament? I mean, we have a Tyson Apostol hosted tournament at Bellbank Park.
That's right.
With pro exhibitions. Everyone can see Tyson's unbelievable Ernie. I don't know if you've seen it live.
Thomas has seen it.
No, I haven't.
Some things you can't unsee. And I think Tyson's Ernie is one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty traumatizing.
Okay, thank you. Thomas hates when we bring up the Ernie because I Ernied him, but then he claims that he can see the Ernie coming a mile away. But then how did he get Ernied?
It's almost like in slow motion. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. Maybe you're longer than every other people. I don't know. It's crazy.
It really is. Yeah, I am hosting a tournament at Bellbank Park in October, and it'll be a ton of fun. My face will be all over posters and everything, Thomas. You pretty jealous?
Yeah, well, how come I didn't know about this?
We're telling you about it right now. October, Mesa, Arizona.
Is that part? Okay, is this like, are we announcing this right now? Has it been talked about before?
No, this is a new event. It's a Gamma sponsored event. We're gonna have Gamma clinics. We're gonna have actually some Gamma paddles for all the medalists. Tyson's gonna sign, women's chest. It's going to be unbelievable.
No, I'll sign people's paddles.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Dude, Tyson's too much of a family man to go along with that joke. This is what I'm learning. Tyson has an image to uphold.
Do I? Listen, I just feel more comfortable signing paddles.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, leave it at that.
Okay, Ryan. Pickleball in the Olympics. Realistically, how close are we? 10 years?
It's exploding in America, but let's look at other countries. Let's look at Asia, and let's look at Europe.
Asia's not a country.
I don't think it's. Well, let's look at areas in the continent that people are playing pickleball. I think for us it's huge, but I think for other areas it's not as big. So I think it's going to take a little bit longer than we think. We can play each other. We can play California versus Arizona, but for us to go and play Colombia or Peru, it's going to take a little time, but I think it'll get there.
It was an exhibition sport at the Maccabee Games in Israel. I saw.
It can't be Maccabee. I mean, there's just no way that's how it's pronounced.
How do you say it?
I don't know. Maccabee. I don't
Ryan,
know.
Do you have input on
I'm not
this?
the authority on the matter.
I'd probably go with Tyson because he's very, very, very astute and intelligent.
Wow, okay. I may be wrong.
What
school? I may be wrong, but I've always heard it Maccabee.
Yeah,
Maccabee.
Well, I could have just made that up. It sounds cooler, doesn't it? Because in my mind, it's sort of like these exotic games, like in another country. I think there was in Israel. Does it change locations?
No, it's always in Israel.
And how many people participated, Tyson?
Not a lot. The pictures I saw, it looked like 20 or 30.
That's not bad, actually. If you can get at least 30 to 40 for the Olympics, we'll be good.
Yeah, that's true. So, 10 years out for the Olympics. Let's delve into PPA versus APP versus MLP versus independence.
Well, you want to talk about what was announced yesterday. So let me pull this up. So and maybe you didn't see this. This was so Major League Pickleball Newport is coming up, right? Mm-hmm. August 5th to like 7th, or it might be 4 to 8 or something like that. But that weekend, and the PPA announced their own event just a little bit north of there in Los Angeles that same weekend. It is the Selkirk Labs Showdown by invite only. So the PPA Selkirk Labs and the prestigious Bramer Country Club in Los Angeles are thrilled to announce the Selkirk Lab Showdown presented by Invited. I think that must be a typo. Yeah. So in terms of what it's going to be, so it's like thrilling, unconventional show featuring wild matchups and unlikely partnerships.
That sounds like Major League Pickleball.
Yeah, right. And it's like a round robin format. There's, one round robin each day, and then eventually there's a points total, and then it culminates in a final on Sunday. So yeah, it's definitely like a shot directly across the bow of Major League Pickleball. And I think we're starting to see this kind of like tit for tat emerge, where it's like one of them makes a move and the other makes some sort of counter. And it's no longer like, yeah, no, we don't compete. It's like, no, we compete with them, and
directly.
we actively try and like dominate viewership or detract from the other.
Right.
Were you laughing at your own joke? I missed.
No, I'm just laughing at how insane this is, that like, it's true that you're saying initially they were like, oh, we're all supportive of each other. What's good for us is good for the sport. It's all good for the sport. And now they're like, let's take that formula and just like mimic it with our own people. And yeah,
well, I think in the old days you would avoid, there's a tournament on Saturday the 5th, August 5th, you'd avoid that weekend. But I think now it's becoming where, let's just do it. They're competing against each other certain weekends. I think in the past, they avoid each other for tournaments and events just because, the player pool and the spectators were, going to one event. But I think there's so many more options now that I think they can coexist. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's interesting here. And this is what I think is the most interesting about this, is that we went to the last Major League Pickleball, Thomas and I, we did commentating there. There were some PPA players there. I don't think that by their contract with the PPA, they were necessarily supposed to initially be there, but they finagled away. Weren't there a few people?
Stratman.
Yeah. And
just Stratman.
Only Stratman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was thinking there were a couple others, but maybe you would know better than me. So just Stratman. So now where does Stratman go on this weekend in California?
I think she'll keep showing up to PPAs. I think she'll go to
but she's going to
under
the
contract
MLP.
with it. She's under contract with the PPA. I think she'll keep going to PPAs, but yeah, for this Major League Pickleball event, she's going to be there, and that's going to take priority for her. Okay. So it's interesting. Like, does that open the floodgates? Are there other PPA players who are like, I want to compete for the 25 grand, and they sort of follow suit because they see, oh, Lauren Stratman walked away unscathed. I want to do that too, because it seems like there's only upside, unless there's some legal stuff happening behind the scenes that we're just not aware of. But even
we got to get Stratman on here.
Yeah, we should get her on here and put her on the spot. And
no, for real. Why not?
Should we call her right now?
Let's call her right now. Let's not call her right now. We'll message her and see if she wants to talk.
Tyson, you act like you haven't been in showbiz all your life. Ryan, call her.
put her on FaceTime, right?
Yeah, let's get her on here, and don't tell her she's being recorded.
Yeah, sure.
There you
go. But just to add to that, a thought I had just kind of looking at Beer City, which is this weekend, APP in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm seeing all the posts and stories and the clips, and like I think mixed doubles starts today or is underway now. It's like there's this community of players emerging that are solely aligned with APP. Like they'll go play PPAs, but in my mind, they're APP players, like the JW Johnsons, the Paris Todds, and like there's this alternate community of good talent forming for the APP, taking on its own persona
of great talent.
Yeah, and it's not like you need, and like people want to tune into that. I want to tune into that, and I also want to tune into the PPA, and I want to go watch Major League Pickleball. Like I don't think just signing players to contract. It's almost like you should just let these players go play where they want to play and try and focus on your product. What are you putting out there on the court that promotes viewership and makes people want to tune in? That's what people should be focused on.
if you're so dead set on getting the pros there, then just pay a larger appearance fee than any of the other tournaments. That's how you get them there. You don't contract them to years and years of servitude. But that's interesting because for me, like, and I'm probably an ultra competitive spirit. If I didn't get a contract from the PPA initially, or didn't get what I wanted from them, and became one of these APP players, I'm doing everything in my power to prove the PPA wrong so that they come groveling at my feet, begging me to play, at which point I say, thanks, but no thanks. You had your chance.
No,
Is
I'd
that
be
the
totally
attitude?
Too.
Is that the attitude of a lot of these players? Do you think in their hearts, like, we're going to prove the PPA wrong, we're going to stomp on their events, and then when they ask us to come play, we're going to say no?
Well, one of the interesting things too was that the PPA, remember, they just posted this sort of vague post on social media, just like of Paris Todd saying stay tuned, and then nothing. We never found out anything. And I wonder if something. Yeah, I wonder if they were trying and they thought they were going to get her to sign, and then she didn't, or something like that.
What do you think about all of that? The players' contracts and their loyalty to one tour over the other, and in some instances, have to play events and can't play others. Is that the future of pickleball? Is this something that's going to work itself out naturally? Is this like one of the growing pains and learning curve of the sport?
I think it'll work itself out, but you're seeing it now in golf too. So this is not just pickleball. You're seeing multi-million-dollar deals to play the new, LIV tour.
I'd sign up for that immediately, dude. If somebody was like, "Here's $20 trillion to play over there,"
you got PGA, and PGA is legendary. It's been around for hundreds of years, and they're stealing top pros with money. Yeah. So, this is something that may not go away. But I think some players are, they'll follow the money. So
interesting.
Whoever gives them the money, and those $200,000 tournaments when they come out, they'll go there. They're not going to go to the smaller events. So it's all about the money when you're a pro athlete.
All this allegiancy and pettiness is going to melt away pretty quickly when people just start putting money on the table. And the question is, will that happen? And how many years out from that are we?
Yeah, I don't think we're that far out. I think
I do. I think if you look at viewership numbers right now, they're not there. And the mentality is, if you build it, they will come, and like the growth of participation, like eventually there's going to be some sort of, trickle down effect where some percentage of people who are casual players will watch the Pro Tour, assuming we can put on a good product. But I still think we're very far away from reaching critical mass to where we can justify, in these tours, multiple tours can justify these big sponsorship contracts that they need to bring in order to make this a feasible business model. That's how I feel about it. And I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
No, I agree with that. Me saying yes, I think that the tours are at that point now where money is going to talk more and more to the players. They've already set the precedent. So now it's like, okay, I need more money than last year. Okay, now I need more money than last year. And if they don't have a product that can be sustainable, that's going to spell trouble for them, which is what you were alluding to there. But I think they've already opened the floodgates there, trying to drown the other people out. So now who can sustain being able to pay the players what they are accustomed to and what they feel they deserve is now going to be part of the game.
And I think the sponsorship's getting there where, I'm getting calls all the time. People want to get into pickleball. So like businesses are like, we want to be involved somehow, because they hear fastest growing sport, and all you hear about, just walking around, you see Tyson, playing, he's a celebrity, obviously. But, everyone wants to either play it or, talk about it. So,
but are they getting a return on their investment if they are sponsoring these big tournaments for a lot of money? Like I get a sponsored player, somebody with a following somewhere, these smaller events where you can introduce product to newer players.
There's a difference between like a brand wanting to do on-site activation at a live event versus paying it like a TV viewership sponsorship deal, right? Like a media rights deal. Like those are two different things. I think we're definitely at a point where sponsoring an event, yeah, it's great for like a brand who's just trying to like get their product in the hands of new people. But we're not at the point where, you know, like, I don't want to name a specific name, but
a giant luxury watch company is willing to pay $30 million to have a year contract of advertising on the backgrounds of every single event.
Yeah, I mean, the name that came to mind is an active sponsor, so I didn't want to like throw them under the bus. But yeah,
go ahead, and at Bellbank Park, we just signed a 20-year deal with Talking Stick Resort, which is a huge presence here in Phoenix. So, you know, and Bellbank Park is huge. We've got a ton of sports, and you know, they're like, let's get our foot in the door with pickleball. So they're going to basically sponsor our stadium. They're going to wrap it with Talking Stick Resort, and you know, they're in it for the long haul. So I think, you know, that's kind of a telling tale where, you know, they're not going into soccer, they're not going to baseball, they're not going to basketball. Hey, let's get at that pickleball stadium and, you know, see where it goes from there. But, you know, I think just like that, it's you know, it's going to start popping up everywhere.
Do you have stats on how many people are moving through Bellbank per week, per month? Is there like a metric that you can share?
I mean, off the top of my head, it's, you know, a busy weekend we'll get, you know, 10 to 20,000 people through. But,
which is more than tune in to a professional match, like
through the entire park or just in the pickleball space?
Through the entire park. I mean, today we have a baseball event, we'll have a basketball event starting later.
Oh, okay.
You know, we're it's gonna be like Disneyland. So but if I walk around the park and I interview people, how many people know what pickleball is? You know, that's the question. You know, I think it's, you know, I think in our world it's huge, and everyone watching these tournaments are players.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out a way to get those other people to watch the sport, you know?
Right. Even though they don't necessarily play it regularly, they have to be able to enjoy watching it in some capacity.
I mean,
I don't know. Some of these points, like I think you need to get another, it's like golf. You need to like play it a couple times to really understand what you're watching and appreciate it. But you know, some of these highlights are incredible. We just posted something because this guy commented on it's Ben and Anna Lee versus AJ Kohler and Callie Smith in Phoenix, actually, at the beginning of the year. And it's this crazy like hands battle. And Anna Lee is just ripping backhands and AJ's just like defending. And it looks sped up. So I get why this guy commented it, but he goes, "It's sped up. Again, the dink, please. You are doing the game a disservice by being the lowest common denominator with trying too hard to get clicks." Like, we don't speed up our clips. It's just that fast. It's that insane. And I think it's like funny. It's a testament to how crazy some of these points and how good some of these players actually are that, you know, we're getting accused of stuff like that. But it's like, how do you communicate that to people who don't know what they're watching or haven't seen the sport before?
I think they have to play it once. I mean, I play with Tyson. He'll come out and play, and then I'll play with Riley 3 days later, and it's like fast forward. It's the same game, but no offense to Tyson, it's that high level is a different game. And, you know, the ball's coming off of Riley's paddle a lot faster than Tyson's slow motion Ernie's. So, you know, I think, you know, people have to experience it and, you know,
and
they'll get it.
I'm fortunate because I'm in a position where people much better than me are willing to play some pickleball with me. Not everybody has that luxury, I understand. So I even get to see that too. And that's why I've like started adding more and more weight to my paddle, trying to be able to hit the ball harder and trying to like also like keep my shots extra low. Ryan notices that. He's always like, "Get it over the net, bro." I'll hit the tape a million times because I'm like, I want it to just kiss the net every single time, make a perfect shot, because I play with these better players who take advantage of every single mistake I make.
Which is very limited, though.
Yes. It helps me. It definitely does.
If you were not on TV, I'm pretty sure you'd be on the pro tour with just your skill set. I mean,
yeah, Tyson, I was gonna ask you a question. So how often do you get commenters on your post saying, "Hey, stop putting your clips in slow motion," and you're like, "No, this is just normal speed. I just
the slow mo. They think
like
it's slow mo.
Sedated giraffe."
No, it's very cool because people are like, wow, I like how you slow-moed it right there, right before you like moved across for your earning. I was like, I didn't change any of the timing. It's just like me being like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right.
So
Yeah.
very cool. It's just a cool effect that is just built into the way I move.
Mm-hmm. All right. I want to take a minute to talk to you guys about Fit Aid Energy. So right now I'm drinking this. What is this flavor? Blackberry pineapple. They sent me a bunch of them. They're awesome. It's got that 200 milligrams of caffeine. And of course, it's healthy. But Fit Aid Energy boosts the original sports recovery ingredients in Fit Aid with 200 milligrams of clean caffeine, as I was just saying. Caffeine comes from green tea, so it's clean. It has branch chain amino acids, turmeric, electrolytes, vitamins, and clean caffeine. They all come together in 4 deliciously electric flavors that are naturally sweetened with only 15 calories. It's a performance energy drink for athletes, fitness buffs, or anyone looking for a clean, effective boost. Visit lifeaidbevco.com and you can save 20% and get free shipping on your first order. Plus, with our exclusive coupon code DINK20 at checkout, that's lifeaidbevco.com and code DINK20 for 20% off plus fast free shipping. The future of energy drinks is here. Welcome to Energy 3.0.
What do you got, Thomas? What do you got?
Well, I'm looking at this list here.
Uh-huh. P.S. I want to go back when you're looking at the list. Ryan was like, tournaments used to look at other tournaments and purposely like kind of like avoid those weekends and stuff. And I'm going to the Gamma Classic on the first weekend of August. And that's in Pittsburgh, but that's also the same date as these events in California. And Major League Pickleball wanted me to do some commentating, but I can't because I am going to the Gamma Classic. And they didn't even know that, other tournaments. There's so many tournaments now that people don't even know that there's other tournaments going on some of the time. I mean, the PPA clearly knew Major League Pickleball was happening at Newport, but that's not always the case. Like, it's not always like out of malice. Sometimes it's just like, there's a lot of tournaments. Like, it's hard to,
Yeah, I think smart tournament directors and obviously the tours will look, at the calendar, but at some point you gotta find the right date. So you're going to see, PPA tournaments on the same weekend as APP tournaments. You're going to see 2 APP tournaments the same weekend, which you've already had. So I think, we're still getting enough players playing them. So why not?
I think if I'm going to make a prediction,
okay.
Eventually, I think Major League Pickleball has wanted to work with the PPA. And I think the PPA wanted to work with Major League Pickleball too, but they both want to be the top dog. And it's just not like you can't have two alphas combine and take one and have one take the back seat. Like, it's just not going to happen given what they both want to achieve. I think we're going to get to a point where Major League Pickleball says, and it sounds like they have some alliance with the APP. They say, well, we need to compete head to head. We need to start doing our own tour, not just a league, but our own tour. And either 1, create their own, or 2, just invest in making the APP a better product. And then it really becomes like 2 mega tours kind of competing, and Major League Pickleball has the league, of course. Like, I think there's going to be more. Right now, we just see sort of like the PPA putting its sights on MLP. I think that's going to shift. I think it's going to go the other way too.
You think the MLP is going to put its sights on the PPA
and try and figure out, how do we?
Well, they're doing that amateur event in Newport, right? I think Major League Pickleball. Yeah. What?
DUPR's running a waterfall.
DUPR's running it in conjunction with Major League Pickleball. Yes, for amateurs. So, that's it's good news for amateurs who want to make some money.
I guess, it's a step in that direction.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that turns out, because with the DUPR scale, it should be able to squash out a lot of the sandbagging. or that is the hope, right?
That is definitely the hope. Yeah. And
and the DUPR will bring, we do DUPR ratings at my facility, and it's a little higher than your normal rating, but I think at least it's it's a closer to true value of what you can't just, Tyson says he's a 5.0, he shows up and, he was not a 5.0, but he said he was. So you can't go off of, what people think they are,
Yeah, exactly.
we played on Sunday, and we did a DUPR. We played like a bunch of casual games. There's just being a group of guys here, and we were over at Tim Klitsch's house, that house that like a bunch of people always play. And Colin and Ben were playing right before us. So when we stepped on the court, the skill level plummeted pretty quickly. But we played a bunch of casual games, and then eventually someone's like, can we do some DUPR games now? And we were like, okay. And then immediately all like the laughing stopped, and it just like it got really competitive, and everyone really wanted to win and improve their DUPR show.
Did you
People
enjoy
are very
that?
protective of this rating, Tyson, do you want to do a DUPR match over at Bell Bank? I mean, are you willing to do that?
I'm willing to do it. Yeah. When I'm feeling good, let's do it.
Okay.
But did you enjoy that, Thomas? Did you enjoy how the serious aspect came in? It was more competitive, or did you not like that?
I think so. I liked how we played some casual games before we did the competitive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It gave a nice balance to the day, right? Sometimes you can go out there and you're just kind of messing around. You don't really care. And sometimes you go out there and you're playing with good players and you're like, it's all competitive. It was nice to have the balance. And I don't know. It's fun. I like getting like actually competitive every now and again, right?
Okay.
But,
yeah, interesting. I honestly didn't know I still don't know if I will enjoy that mindset, because to me, I feel like I'll just kind of treat it the same, but maybe I won't. You know how protective I am of my Uber rating. So DUPR probably even more so.
Ryan, do you watch a lot of pro pickleball? Like when it's on, are you tuning in? Like when you get off, are you going to go watch Beer City?
Depends on where I'm at. I mean, if we're at Bell Bank and we're running stuff and it's slow, we'll throw on, we've got a TV back in our pro shop. We'll throw pickleball on, obviously. If I'm home, I'll throw it on. To be honest, I watch it too. Just depending on what I'm doing, but I'll definitely turn on the Beer City at least, once a day to see what's going on with some of my friends or, some of the pros I like to watch,
Right.
Is there something you're more hopeful? Sorry, Thomas. Is there something you're more hopeful for?
I think what you're kind of getting at here,
in
which is
these broadcasts, like what could they do to improve your viewership experience? Is that what we're going to say, Thomas?
Nope.
Okay,
then your question's next.
Less advertising, even though that's what's paying for the tournaments, but and less repeat advertisements. I want to watch pickleball, so and it's high level pickleball, and I think I would like to watch people that bring excitement. People I know or people that have some personality. So that's what we're looking for. You want the Curioses. Those are the fun matches to watch. You want personalities. And I think some players are more boring than others. I'm not going to name names, but I think it's just like any other sport. You want excitement. You want the Djokovic's and the Kyrgioses with when you don't know what might happen next. The McEnroes. So I think we need more Tysons in this world with personality. Because he is the pickleball personality. I think.
I am. Thomas doesn't know if he agrees yet.
Yeah, he certainly says it a lot.
Well, Ryan said it too, bro. I'm not the only one over here saying it. Thomas, what was your question for Ryan?
I just want to know, like, your personal opinion on all the tours. Like, do you have a preference to which one you like to watch? You're more excited to watch?
I mean, I watch them both. Like, to be honest, it's whatever, I'm a pickleball enthusiast, so I'll watch whatever's on, to be honest. I'll follow PPA and APP, to be honest. And it's more about, for me, it's more about the players, I want to follow certain players and just watch pickleball, but, I'll obviously follow, Riley and some of the local Phoenix guys, Dano De La Rosa, Pesatione, but, at the end of the day, it's pickleball. We all love it. I think everyone that is involved in pickleball plays pickleball. So, all the referees, all the tournament directors, all the operations, they all play pickleball. That's what's crazy about the sport is everyone is playing, Tyson, everyone, whoever's involved in pickleball, the guys that are behind the cameras, they play pickleball. So I think, we have this, this shared love of the game,
Do you have any like interesting, fun players that are coming up through the ranks in the Phoenix area? I mean, you guys kind of just breed them over there. Like you mentioned Tioni. I always thought I love watching him play. He doesn't play as much pro stuff as I wish he would. But like, are there any other players you're looking at?
I mean, he's probably, Phoenix, we have a ton of good players, but, we're actually losing some to a lot of guys are going out to Dallas and whatnot or Austin. But, Pesa's pretty much the one that comes to mind. I've seen a ton of like 4 or 5 guys trying to be 5-0 pros, but, there's not, for me, it's oftentimes it's hard to find a good game, to be honest. So,
How old, do you know how old Pesa is?
He's early 20s. I think he's like 23.
Okay.
But he
what about
he needs to get into those games. If he was traveling around the world playing with the top 10 pros, he would be there. But he's out here playing 4-0 pickleball with dudes at the park. So it's true though. He plays 3 times a day. He plays with us, but he'll play with anyone. So for him to get to that next level, you got to start drilling. You got to start playing with those 6-0 guys.
Yeah, right. I love watching him and De La Rosa play together. I wish they would play more.
Ton of athleticism for sure.
What about Kyle, that pickleball guy? I saw him. He posts a lot in Phoenix. How's his game? You can put him on blast here if you need to.
I played him in one tournament and we won the gold against them. But he's up and coming. He's just like every other 4 or 5 5-0 guy. Let's try to go pro. So he's getting better and better. But I am 1-0 against him as of today. But maybe a year from now he'll beat me with my old age. I don't know.
I like
it's a pickleball thing. I don't know if you guys ever talk about this. Is like everyone says they're a pro. So what is a pro? Is a pro someone that's sponsored? Is a pro someone that's cashing at these tournaments? What is a pro? That's kind of a vague term that everyone uses, and I don't know if you guys ever talk about that, but it's pretty funny just going around. I get a lot of my students will come up and be like, "Did you heard about this guy John? He's so good. He's a pro." I'm like, the dude's a 4 or 5, and I crushed him like 15-0. So what is a pro?
So I don't think I've talked about cycling for a while here, Thomas. So I'm probably at liberty to right now. One sec.
I'm not going to stop you at this point.
Yeah. And you were probably a pro cyclist, right?
So mountain biking is like pickleball more in that like you sign up for a pro race. There's no restriction on where you sign up or where you place yourself. You just do it. And then you can say you're a pro mountain biker. Professional road cycling, on the other hand, you have to have a professional contract with a team. And so that is the line. And you're at that point getting a salary. Whereas mountain biking, we all 3 could sign up for a pro mountain bike race tomorrow. And so there's no like real level you have to reach before you can just like sign yourself up. So my definition of a pro athlete is somebody who makes a living competing in that sport.
But that's tougher for pickleball because like, it's
no one's
much harder to make
a
living.
They're paying more than they make to play these
That's
tournaments.
what I'm saying. So right now there are
like
few.
5.
Sure. Okay. Then those are the 5 pros.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. That's what you got to, I don't know. Like that's to me, you got to make, maybe at this point we'll allow the bulk of your income or a portion of your income or something. But if you're just signing up pro just so you can brag to your friends that you're pro.
I think you're kind of right. I think it's like if you're making money from pro events, like for placements in those events, then yeah.
So if you're making $12,000 a year, Tyson, you could be a pro pickleball player, even though you're paying $50,000 to travel and play.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not professional. Profession by
it's
definition.
It's not good.
Profession by definition means the thing
wrong.
make your living at.
No, it doesn't. Profession means you get paid for whatever it is. If you lose money, if you lose money, you're still a professional technically. You just run a
that's
bad
like
business.
that's like you working at McDonald's and paying McDonald's to work there.
Okay. Well, whatever. My definition of professional sport is that you need to make your income and living off of it.
That's why they're all living in their cars, I guess.
Sure. Those are professionals right there.
Profession is a paid occupation. So
there you go.
You can lose money in the long run, but as long as you're getting paid.
But getting paid and winning prize money are also different.
Depending on they can be. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I think if you're getting some money just to play, whether or not you're winning tournaments or not, and it's not all dependent on prize money, that also goes into the equation. Whatever. This is neither here nor there. I'm going to get like a barrage of people being like, I'm a pro. And it's like, well, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. How much money do you make? Is it enough to live off of?
No, I mean, like it's a good conversation topic because there are so many people saying, yeah, no, like I'm a pro. And then every once in a while I'll be in a public setting and someone will introduce me to somebody and they'll be like, yeah, they're a pro pickleball player. And I go,
are they?
And I just kind of give them the look like, is that what you're going by? Like,
yeah.
you know who you're talking to? Like, I know who the pros are.
Yeah. And people will tell me all the time, they'll be like, oh, you're a pro pickleball player. That's so awesome. I was like, I am not a pro pickleball player.
But dude, by your own definition, I mean, you've got Gamma and Fila paying you like,
no, I just love their product
more than a lot.
But here's the thing is that if I had less shame and was like, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm a pro. Like if people are going to like, that's what some of these, like anybody who gets introduced to you as a pro pickleball player that you've never heard of, that is someone who only just wants people to misunderstand them as a professional athlete. And so by all accounts and measures, there's been so many times in the last couple of years where people have either introduced me as a pro pickleball player or on social media been like, oh, it's so cool that you're a professional athlete again. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm a personality in the space. But I could easily, like, I think a younger me that was more prideful would have been like, yeah, I'm a pro. Tell your friends, tell everybody I'm a professional. But yeah. So
your ego is no longer overhanging. I think that's smart.
Correct. But yeah. So where do we go from here, guys?
Well, my last thought on that is if you are a person of integrity, it will be in your gut to provide the caveat that even if you've played at the pro level, like you're not a pro. So every once in a while, like maybe somebody in my family would be like, Thomas, he plays pro pickleball. I'm like, no, I've played pro pickleball. I've gotten 2 wins, and that doesn't mean anything in a sport that's as young as it is, right? Yeah. So it's like that you need. And
all I did was show up and sign up for pro,
and like picked a good partner.
Yeah,
picked a good partner, had a good draw.
but that's the difference right now in this sport is I can go up to a registration table at a tournament and they'll be like, what are you playing? I'm like, pro, here's $150. And they're like, okay, stash the money in their pocket. I go in, get demolished by whoever, and then leave. And people are like, how'd you do? I was like, not very good, but I'm pro. I played pro. Got a bad draw, played the top guys in the world early on. That's the way it goes at the pro level, me being a pro. And then that's just like the way it is. But yeah.
There are people who do that 100%.
Yeah. DUPR needs a specific, you need a check mark on DUPR when you reach the level of being pro.
I like this. DUPR needs to
verify.
Sell this to DUPR. Yeah, exactly. Have verification status for
pro
pros,
badges.
There's going to be some sort of some sort of benchmark that you have to hit, and then you get sort of like this, blue check
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, it's like,
Pretty cool.
tennis, you have Challenger Tour. You have to win tournaments to get into events.
Yes.
I think you're actually going to start seeing that this year and next year with some Challenger events, and you need to qualify to play. So I
Yeah.
And
think that's how you get your check mark.
That's how pro cycling on the road level is. You have to tally enough points to even qualify to get picked up by a professional team and then go from there. So part of it is that you have to have the experience, because sometimes it takes years and years. And I think with experience in all sport, pickleball included, comes a higher level of professionalism and of gameplay as well. And so I think when we can somehow figure out that little kink, but like that's not the most pressing matter in the sport right now. So everybody put that on the back burner.
No, I want to out sandbaggers and I want to out wannabe pros that aren't pros.
Okay. The two extremes, whether you're playing way up in level or way down in level,
Yeah.
you got to figure it out, guys.
That's my personal mission.
Okay. Good to know. And if there's any companies that would like to sponsor Thomas in his mission, his number is, I won't give him your phone number. What else we got, Thomas? Is that a wrap?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Ryan, any closing thoughts? What you got coming up at Bell Bank in the next coming weeks?
I think you should dedicate maybe a show to this, but we are focusing on junior pickleball. I've got a junior pickleball academy we just announced coming out in September, and we're going to basically create a spot where they can come and train, because I don't think you've seen the next gen, which is unbelievable, but these kids have nowhere to train. They have nowhere to play, no other kids to play with. So we're going to focus on that. We already have a huge performance training center that we can kind of piggyback off of. But I think that's the future of pickleball is the juniors, and I think you're seeing that with next gen. You're seeing on the tour, you've got Anna Lee, you've got Hayden. These kids can play. So I think that's kind of where the future is. But what I'm doing is a lot of junior stuff where you have events obviously every weekend. We've got leagues that Tyson Apostol has competed in actually, and he's dominated some of these people. And they've left my facility.
These kids, we're still on the topic of the kids leagues.
I have dominated some of the kids. Yeah,
we have some kids in the league, and Tyson will hit them with the ball. He'll body bag them. He has no shame, and kids will leave crying sometimes. And
no, that's incorrect.
No, I've seen it too. It's pretty horrifying.
It is true.
Tyson thinks he's teaching valuable lessons.
Yeah. But if you ever play with Tyson, he tries to hit you. I don't know what it is. Maybe, he's angry, but he tries to hit me every time, and he'll make it purposeful. He's like, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to put it on the camera. I'm going to show it in slow motion. And I think he's done it before, but yeah.
And then his ultimate goal is you lose your cool. And then he sits there like, dude, it's part of the game. And then it makes you like,
I mean, one game I tried hitting Tyson every single time, and it ruined my game, and I went home, almost crying because I couldn't hit him.
No, the deal was if you body bagged me 5 times in a game, I would do a compilation video of all the body bags. And
I couldn't get you. You're so thin.
You couldn't get me. No, I could always get my paddle in front of it enough to negate the body bag. But the paddle, it didn't come off my paddle properly. I just blocked my body from getting hit. So
wiry is
okay. Well, in 2 weeks from today, I'll be at the Gamma Classic in Pittsburgh. If anyone wants to come say hi, I'm just going to be playing like rec games all day long while the tournament's going on. So
can you live stream that if possible, so I can just enjoy my Saturday?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be on the Johnny Pickleball show as well.
Oh my gosh!
Live stream some of it, and that's
what I got. Similar to the Johnny Carson Tonight Show, or what is that?
I think it's the same. Yeah, it's very similar. A desk. I walk in. There's coffee mugs filled with water. It's all. Yeah, exactly, to Johnny Carson. Also, Ryan, Johnny Carson reference really kind of puts an age on you.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm ready for the senior. I'm ready for the senior tour. Actually,
are you?
In 4 years, I'll be ready.
Okay, you got some time.
Like I can't compete with these 19-year-old kids. Trust me.
Oh man, I've seen you. You do okay. Thomas, what you got coming up? Anything cool? You gonna be out in? You gonna be at Major League Pickleball in a couple weeks?
I don't know yet. I need to figure that out.
Okay.
I got a weird month ahead. I might be at a lot of pickleball events. I might not be. We'll see.
Wow, I like it. The intrigue, the mystery.
We're doing a glow in the dark event out here. If Thomas
You are?
come, I'll give you a free
When?
entry.
Is that in 2 weeks?
August 6th.
I'll be in Pittsburgh, bro.
I know. I can't. Like I said, you can't. You got to run these events for when they're scheduled. I can't avoid the PPA or the APP or Tyson. You know, I got to do it. But yeah, we're gonna do a fun glow in the dark event. I think you're gonna miss out on a huge party.
Well, I'll be at a huge party of my own.
Sure.
So, okay, Thomas, shut it down, bro.
Later.